Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and there have been 3 amazing new releases to the market in the last couple of weeks, so I thought we'll give them a quick recap. And we're going to start with the most expensive and the oldest whiskey in the world as well. It is the Macallan Reach. Now, this isn't a new release, or is it? It was originally released on the 9th of February 2022, where it was available in the boutiques the 9th of February 2022 for $125,000 or about £92,000. Now, there were 288 bottles or decanters in this, and it was, of course, like an artist collaboration with Saskia Robinson, and it had these 3 sort of hands holding this decanter, which, you know, there was a concept behind it in terms of like it represents history, ingenuity and strength of character at the Macallan. The 3 hands in the bronze sculpture represent workers in the Reach's story. Alan Shirk, the current master whiskey maker Kirsten Campbell, and workers from the 1940s. So, like, yeah. Okay, there's a concept there, but why is it taking so long to come out? And why am I saying it's a new release now? Well, very few of these came to market just after that period of saying that they were going to be released. There's been a few in 1 or 2 auctions tops. But in the last week, we've had 6 people contact us that have bought them on allocation and are now trying to flip them. Likewise, this week, this video might be coming out a little bit later than when this video was, when this auction went through, but Sotheby's have just sold one for £212,000, and the Whisky Exchange, interestingly enough, they've got one at £235,000, which includes the VAT, so only 195 grand ex the VAT. Now, when you consider that the buyers for many of these bottles, like I would put a decent amount of money on saying that Sotheby's bottle went outside of the UK. If they'd bought the one at the Whisky Exchange, they would have been able to have the VAT knocked off the purchase price and buy it for 195k. So saving a good, 15-20 grand. So the obvious thing that people are going to be saying is, should you buy the Macallan Reach? Well, can you afford it, and can you afford to lose all of that money? Because for me, these bottles are too high risk and the buyers and sellers are too savvy. If you'd bought that bottle at 95 grand and you wanted to sell it for 150, 160 grand, and take a decent profit, like take 56 grand profit, people, you could have flipped it like that and someone would have been out there ready to buy it. But now people are going to have seen that auction price at 212,000 at Sotheby's, and they're going to see one at the Whisky Exchange at 235 grand. And are they going to sell it at a sensible price? No, they're going to want, I want 200 grand for it. And the market for this is just going to stagnate and slosh around because there's one bottle at auction that's gone crazy. So my advice for that, should you buy a Macallan Reach? Well, if you have got a phenomenal amount of wealth and can afford it and can afford to lose it, then hell yeah. If not, then don't risk that much money on one transaction, people. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, because we're always covering whiskey investment and collecting whiskey and awesome bottles like the Macallan Reach, and also more affordable bottles like this one, the GlenAllachie 30-year-old. This is the 3rd installment of the GlenAllachie 30-year-old. This is called Batch 3. It's not very imaginative, is it? But this is the Batch 3, the 2023 edition, limited edition of 2,500 bottles, and it was retailing at £670. However, all the flippers and all the flippers bots will have already bought them all by now, so there's probably no chance that you can go and buy it at RRP. That said, if you can buy one at RRP, run out now and go and bloody buy it, because it's an amazing bottle of whiskey. It's 30-year-old whiskey for £670. It's part of a series of 30-year-olds by GlenAllachie, but there are a few things that I don't like about the GlenAllachie hype at the moment. On social media, you get all the fanboys and girls waxing lyrical about saying how good Billy Walker is and how good Billy Walker is, and also how good Billy Walker is. Now, Billy Walker is amazing, fantastic, incredible, but what's his involvement in this whiskey? This whiskey, was laid down in the early 1990s for it to be a 30-year-old, and Billy and his team only took over the distillery in 2017. So, yes, Billy deserves a certain amount of credit here, but please, people, give a huge amount of credit to the marketeers, the marketing people who are doing this, the PR agencies, the ad designers, the product designers that are making these beautiful boxes that you want to go and buy. So yes, Billy's likely making some fantastic whiskey that's going to be laid down now and will be bottled in several years' time. But at the moment, this is an awesome bottle of whiskey, but you know what? This sold out like that, 2,500 bottles as a limited edition. You can still go and buy the Glenfarclas 30-year-old at £650 a bottle at retail, and that's just sat there. The difference between the two is that GlenAllachie call theirs a limited edition because they want to try and attract people to buy it and sell it quickly. Glenfarclas are a bit old school and they're still in this whiskey's only for drinking. We don't want to sell it to anyone else unless they're going to drink it. Then why the hell are they putting it in a big warehouse box? Like, that is to enhance sales and push sales along. And you can bet your bottom dollar at some point you guys and girls out there are going to realise what great value this whiskey really is, and therefore the prices will start going up. But anyway, on to something a little bit more saucy. It's an old Pultney 45-year-old. It's called the Bow Wave, which sounds a bit... Anyway, it's a 45-year-old one-of-one bottling to be auctioned by the distiller's one-of-one auction. The decanter was designed by Glasstorm, and there's all sorts of Scottish silverware on there by a very, very, very good silversmith called Lucy Woodley. Now, again, like the Macallan Reach, it's 2023, and if you're making a high-value bottle, you're not just doing it as a bottle of whiskey, because whiskey has a finite price, but art doesn't. So this, whoa, are you ready for the concept of this, people? The bottle, crafted with hand-blown glass with incisor cuts, is designed to mirror the essence of crashing waves. The blue colour represents the ocean depths, while the golden whiskey inside mimics the reflections on a morning sunrise. The cork can be accessed only by a bespoke anchor key crafted by Glasstorm. What a lovely concept. It's a beautiful looking bottle that also looks like a mechanical or vibrating device to pleasure certain parts of the anatomy. And like, that's the first thing that I saw when I saw this. Is like, yes, it looks great, but it also looks a lot like a vibrator, doesn't it? But anyway, it's great, and this sort of collaboration of whiskey and art is something that I'm going to start researching and reading into a lot more, because we do seem to be seeing a lot more of this whiskey and art collaborations and these concepts behind these bottles, and it does seem to be more to legitimise the pricing of these bottles than it does to sort of anything else. You know, I come from an art background. I did a fine art degree and a master's in museum and gallery studies. You know, this thing really fascinates me. Like, what are the things that are driving value? And we're seeing more and more of this art and whiskey hookups and link-ups, and I think there's a lot more to explore there. But anyway, there are 3 new releases for this year. Go and buy the GlenAllachie if you can. With the Reach and the old Pultney, you know what? If you can afford it and you want it, go and buy it.